Hello, everybody. Ghostface is back once again to give you the final review on Scream, or Scream 5, or Scream 2022. Mm. Now, I want to give you a little history lesson on Tanner when he went to go see this movie. Now, when this movie was first coming out, there's a lot of red flags already, where this was the first film not directed by Wes Craven since he sadly passed away in 2015. And this was also going to be the second film Kevin Williamson was not writing. Just from all that, I was already nervous. Had really no expectations. I didn't know if should be excited for it. But when I found out that Radio Silence was involved, I got a little bit more excited, but I still wasn't hyped for it. But then the first trailer for this film came out, and I honestly thought it looked decent. I thought that for what it was trying to do, it looked pretty good. But when I went to watch it opening weekend, it was one of the best theater experience I have ever had in my life, where a lot of people, I went there dressed up as Ghostface, like I am right now. I mean, what am I talking about? This is Ghostface. There's a bunch of other people dressed up as me, and we all watched the movie, and it was just freaking wild. Where we got pictures together, we messed around a little bit. Might have almost got kicked out, just saying. But I thought this was one of the best Scream movies in a while, and I am so excited to see what they're gonna do with the sixth one. Starting out with the positives on Scream 2022, which I'm still just gonna call Scream 5, is the opening. Like the other movies, I think this opening is really good. It's not my favorite by all means, but I think it would be in my top three. And I want to talk about the voice of L. Jackson in this opening. To me, Roger Jackson in this opening has been his best work as Ghostface, like, since the original. This might be his best, honestly. I thought it was really fucking good, where I think he kind of gives off as just a normal person vibe when Tara first answers the phone, where he's kind of stuttering, acting just kind of like a normal person. But then he slowly goes back into that Ghostface vibes, and then he's finally Ghostface, where he's just this normal person at first, but then after all that, he is freaking terrifying to me. Where I just found it very weird how when I went and watched this in the theater, when I was watching it, where I thought this was just easily his best performance, and I just love the opening, how much beaten takes, played by the amazing Jenna Ortega, maybe my celebrity crush. She takes like fucking hell of a beating in this movie, and I believe she is the first person to actually survive a Scream opening, which is very different, which I think when I first watched it, I was kind of upset about that because it was a different take because every Scream movie opened with the opening kill, but this was the first one not, which I'm hoping they'll do in Scream 6, where they'll go back to the opening kill vibes. But yeah, Tara takes a fucking hell of a beating. She apparently got stabbed 7 times. She got her fucking leg broken. She took a fucking hell of a beating. And that just shows how much of a person Jenna Ortega could take a beating. Good job, dude. I like these new characters. There's a lot of them where I didn't really care for, but the main one that stood out to me was Wes, played by the guy who's in Don't Breathe in the Goosebumps movie. His character name is Wes, named after the late great Wes Craven, director of the original movies. And I didn't. There's some characters where I didn't really care for, but I think the new characters are pretty interesting. Mainly, like I said, Tara, Sam, Wes, and I did kind of like Richie for a while till we got to the you know what. But yeah, I think the new characters were the were the main focus, and it kind of pissed off a lot of people that they were the main focus and not the original cast. It didn't bother me too much, but I do wish the main characters were in it more. But for these new characters, I kind of dig them. And speaking of characters, I like the returning characters. You get Nev Campbell, you get Courtney Cox, you get David Arquette, and you, like I said, Roger L. Jackson. Hell, you even get the return of Billy in this movie. If you don't know who Billy is, what the fuck rock have you been living under if you're watching my reviews right now? Billy is the one of the original killers. Like I said, like the actor's name, you got Sidney, Dewey, Gale, Billy, Ghostface voice actor. Hell, you even get Sheriff Judy in this, who was in Scream 4, which I didn't really care for her at first, because she kind of had a like small role. But I like her in this one more because they kind of utilize her a lot more, and she has a son now. She's more protective since the events of Scream 4. But they also just kind of kill her off like she's kind of nothing, which was a kind of a shame. But yeah, I'm glad to see the returning characters, even though some of them don't have to do much. But Dewey, he was kind of the main focus on this one. But we all know where that goes. But yeah, I think the returning characters and the actors and actresses were just awesome to see again, and to see how much effort they put into it with this being the first one without Wes Craven's involvement. But they pretty much give it their all on what they had to do. I found it kind of interesting how all the victims are related to the original movie, where you got like the first kill, like Stu Macher's nephew by his unnamed sister that we've never seen before in this franchise, like ever. And then you got like Judy West, who are from Scream 4. Wait, I shouldn't say from the first movie, but from like the original trilogy, I should say. But yeah, that was an interesting concept. Back when this movie was first coming out, they said that this movie wasn't going to be very meta. It was going to be more of a straightforward horror movie, which I was against. Like this not being directed by Wes Craven, I was like, well, if this is not going to be meta, why is it Scream then? But I'm pretty sure they heard all the controversy, like, oh fuck it, let's rewrite the script and make it more meta. And yeah, they made the metal side where all the kills are related to the original, like from the other movies, which I thought was an interesting concept, but kind of brought down the body count of this movie, which is not a big issue. Hmm. Yeah, like I said, it's just an interesting concept. I love how brutal I am in this movie. Now, I still contend that so far, like I say, so far, Scream 4 is the most violent Scream movie, and this one is probably the most brutal Scream movie, where I am just fucking mean in this one, where I'm stabbing someone in the side like 3 times, like fucking brutal, like it was just fucking brutal. I remember when I was sitting in the theater when I was watching this, and I was like, oh shit. A lot of people are saying that it's just the same thing. I'm like, yes, they're the same kills, just with a simple knife stab. But to me, they were just more brutal in this one. You even get one kill with Wes where the knife slowly goes through his neck, which I thought was fucking awesome. But yeah, like I said, these kills are brutal. Like with the opening scene with Tara's attack, that was fucking brutal too. God damn, I just loved how brutal these kills were. You remember how I said that this movie kind of goes back to the first movie? Well, it does. We finally return to Stu Macher's house, which I thought was awesome. If you did not watch the trailers, it would have been a nice surprise, but I was a fucking idiot and I watched the trailers when this movie first came out. But it was still a nice surprise to see Stu Macher's house again, and it was awesome to see. I grew up watching the original Scream fucking constantly when I was younger, and to see Stumacher's house on the big screen was just a dream come true. I would honestly love to go visit the actual house in real life. They actually do that, but I'm pretty much poor and I'm not famous yet. Hmm. Love the final act of this movie, where it's pretty much the first movie taking place in Stu's house, where the ghost faces of this movie are trying to reenact that, which I thought was kind of interesting. But at the same time, like, why does this kind of feel like a remake? Then Scream 4 kind of tackled the remake phase, but they kind of do it over here, which I'm not against. I thought it was pretty interesting, where they just redid that stuff from the first movie in Stu's house, which I just really like to see, because mainly because it's Stu's house and it's just Stu's house pretty much is why I loved it pretty much. And I found a positive, which is kind of a more of a thank you in a way, is how much love this movie was made of from the directors of Tyler and Matt, where they said that Scream was one of the first horror movies that really got them into horror. Where I'm glad to see that, because you could tell that this movie was made with love, honestly, because they loved this franchise and they wanted to do it for Wes. They even dedicate this movie to him, which I thought was really nice of them. Yeah, it was just nice to see how much love this movie was from actual fans and who were nervous themselves to actually make this movie, not directed by Wes Craven. But for this being not the being the first Scream movie not directed by Wes Craven, the directors did a damn good job making Wes proud, I imagine. I imagine if Wes Craven was still alive and if he did not direct this movie, I honestly believe that Wes would be proud. Not the negatives, this can also be in the conversation how much love it was made. I wish this movie took more risks. Now, you could tell there's a lot of things that are just kind of like from the original, which I can also forgive because this, like I said, this is the first movie not directed by Wes Craven. They, I imagine this, the reason they didn't take as much risks as they did is because they didn't want to piss off the fans too early with this being the first Scream movie without Wes Craven, which I understand. But I'm glad to see that Scream 6 is supposed to be taking more risks, which I'm pretty excited to see. But yeah, I wish this one took more risks, but I can forgive it for it. Moving on to my other mixed aspect is Dewey dying. Now, I was really shocked when he died when I watched this in the theater. When he died, I was like, no! Parent's such a pussy. Anyways, Dewey dying was a very emotional thing where I hated the fact that they killed him off, but at the same time, like Randy's death, it kind of felt necessary. There are a lot of people are saying out there that they need to move on from these characters can't survive forever, which I'm honestly in the conversation where they can't live forever, but I do love these characters, where I honestly think that they needed to start dying, because I honestly think that these characters shouldn't live on to survive this entire franchise, which I'm interested to see in Scream 6 tonight if Gale will die, because a lot of people are like, well, if you're gonna kill off dude, you might as well kill off Gale, which I'm pretty interested to see if she doesn't die, where that conversation's gonna go. But yeah, like I said, his death kind of felt necessary, but at the same time, I'm pretty still pissed off that he died. Moving on to my negatives, which is an issue Scream 4 had. Where is anybody in this fucking hospital? Does Woodsboro just not have any fucking doctors? There would be more officers on the fucking floor, but at the same time, people are probably gonna be like, "Oh, you're overthinking it." I'm not overthinking it. It's a fucking fact. Moving on from that, I did not care for the ghost faces in this movie. This is the first movie where I just plain like just predicted. I was in the theater, and when one of the killers, which I will not spoil because there's still some people who still haven't fucking watched this movie, I kind of predicted it, and one of them was forgettable, which I honestly remember when I was sitting in the theater when they revealed the first ghost face where the person takes out a gun and shoots the lady in the face. I went, who the fuck is that? You get the other ghost face was just who I just guessed who was, and I was right. He was predictable. One was predictable, and one was just fucking forgettable. All in all, guys, with this being the first Scream movie not directed by Wes Craven, it was a damn good film, and honestly, these directors seem to know what they're doing, and I'm very excited to see how they're going to continue this series. In the sixth film, maybe we'll get a seventh film, hopefully, if the sixth one does good. But as of right now, until I see Scream 6, this is in fact my second favorite Scream movie, which was a huge surprise for me when I went and watched this movie for the first time. Which I honestly think that this is the best film since the original, and it is a must go out and buy it. What did you guys think of Scream 5 or Scream 2022 or just Scream, whatever the fuck you want to call it? Do you like this one? Do you not like this one? Are you glad that this was a good film to continue off without Wes Craven? Let me know in the comments below and we will talk about it. If you like this video, like it. If you loved it, subscribe and hit the bell notification so you will get notified for my latest videos. But until my next video, take care and also look out for my Scream rankings Saturday.